Hi, everybody. This is Mary Ellen. I'm Mary Ellen. I'm from LearnBridge Online. I'm here to welcome you. I see some new names. Someone from Sweden. It's awesome. The UK, all over the US. You're logging in. You are logging into the live version of course, Kurt Solof's Dynamic Defense and Beyond. I'm here to work support while Kurt is teaching. So if you should have any trouble hearing or seeing what's on the screen, you're going to reach out to me. Try a few things first. There is a refresh button on the upper portion of your screen. You could try refreshing your screen. You can also navigate back to the link that took you into the class. Sometimes just shutting everything off, turning it back on works too. Or you can send an email to me using that little golden widget in the bottom left of your screen. And that way I can send you a new link or get you back in right away. So we also record these sessions. And the great thing about that is if something like that should happen, you can always go back to the learning library and see the whole session. So we record it and we make sure it's available to you. And with that being said, I always then push the magic record button and bring Kurt into the classroom. And let's get that going. It always takes a minute. Hey, hi, Kurt.
Hey, how you doing?
Your background is working again. Nice to see.
Yes. Yeah, we are back under the sea, I guess, today. So
we need to tell everybody that's watching on replay and the audience that's logging in live that you have an amazing class coming up.
Yeah, we are actually going to be working within a theme for the next 4 weeks here in Dynamic Defense and Beyond. And the theme is Monster Hands. We are kicking off on Halloween. Excuse me, that's no accident.
Makes sense.
We are kicking off Monster Hands on Tuesday, the 31st, Halloween. And we're going to spend the next 4 weeks after today talking about dealing with some of your strongest hands. And, topics will range from things like reverses and jump shifts and 2 club openers and that sort of thing. So those of you who already are part of the class, you are already getting this. And of course, we are always thrilled to have you as always. But we would like to ask you to let any of your friends, your partners, your bridge peers, let them know that that's on the horizon. I know Bashir and I have put together a couple little short videos that I haven't checked to see if any of them have appeared in the YouTube channel yet on promoting some monster hands. And we just want to let people know on that and see if we can find some additional participants to check out the class for this little promotion.
So everybody tell your friends, people you play bridge with. I think it's an awesome category because it is hard sometimes to bid those big hands, So
yeah, they definitely can be difficult hands to deal with at times. In many ways, your best hands are among the most awkward hands if you play a standard American or 2/1, or perhaps even an A-call system, unless you happen to be a precision player or something like that, a system that's more geared toward better dealing with your strong hands. These are not always very easy auctions at all.
Right. Well, with that being said, I'm going to run away and be in the background, making sure everything's okay, and enjoy the class.
All right. Well, good to see everybody here from around the globe. And we have something a little different today. Eventually, we will get back to some defense. And one of the things By the way, as we talk about the class coming up, if folks that you talk to, if you do talk to anybody about this class series, and they say, well, isn't that all about defense? Be sure to let them know that we cover the gamut here, that we don't just deal with defense, that while we at times like to put a lot of emphasis on defense, obviously we've taken a significant departure from that to talk about some declare play topics and a lot of bidding topics. So, we do all things bridge here. So make sure that people don't think that they are getting only defense. Of course, as much as I like teaching defense, I also like it when the students who really want to work on their defense and take an interest in it. But our topic for today is actually something a bit different. And today we ask the question, where's the stopper? Who's got the stopper? So what is this all about? This business of stoppers. Sometimes we just have to go back to basics. And that's another thing that I've run into with a number of students over the years. I'll get I have been at times referred to as bridge therapist, right? Have a little bridge couch where you could lie down and talk about all of your bridge woes. And so, so people, look, we get into slumps, right? We feel like we're not really happy with our game, or we have a string of poor results or something like that. And sometimes I tell people, we start learning new gadgets, new conventions, we overthink things, we analyze things. And sometimes I think we drift a little bit away from the basics. And we need to recenter ourselves with the priorities that we learned very on in the game. One of those is, of course, that our first priority is to look for a major suit fit in our auctions. And when it doesn't exist, that we should really be targeting playing in no trump, whether it's a part score or a game. And indeed, those minor suits are still the poor redheaded stepchildren who get neglected, who don't get treated as well, get ignored at times. But if you don't have a highly distributional hand with a big minor suit fit, we do want to keep 3 no trump in focus when there's no major fit, right? And of course, if we're talking about the game contract, it's the easiest game contract, not necessarily in terms of playing the hand, but in terms of tricks required, right? Only needing 9 tricks. Of course, thinking about it from a match point play perspective, you get the scoring premium, especially when we get into taking over tricks and no trump, right? So let's be sure that we keep 3 no as a very high priority contract for us. At the same time, we don't want to be completely reckless about our no trumps, right? Like we try to avoid playing no trump when somebody is, like 6-5 distribution. Any hand with a void, while you might play no trump on occasion, that can really complicate things. Hands with a void, hands with 2 singletons, things like that. Transportation is an issue. So yeah, certainly having shortness in suits can present problems. And then, of course, the other thing that can present a big problem in no trump is when the opponents have a long suit. And we do need to show concern in our bidding for having those long suits, whether the opponents overcall or preempt. We need stoppers. We need to make sure that suit that they're bidding isn't just going to run on us. And so, we're trying to maintain this balance where we really push for no trump, and sometimes at match points we can even be rather greedy about playing in no trump. Maybe at times when we really shouldn't, right? But we understand it because of the scoring format. but we don't want to go overboard. So there are times to be worried about problem suits, and there are times not to worry so much about problem suits. If we have a really uninformative auction, and I've given the example 1-no, 3-no. Incidentally, this might be my favorite auction ever. I love having this auction when my side is declaring because it says so little. And look, you all know from trying to defend no trump that if you don't have a decent long suit or you don't have a sequence, some sort of clear lead, then finding the right lead against no trump is not always the easiest thing to do, right? It can be really difficult. And sometimes as the declaring side, maybe we have a problem in a suit. Maybe we're wide open. Maybe we have too small and partner also has too small in that suit. And the opponents can get us, but they don't always get us, right? Sometimes they don't get off to the best lead. We take our 9 tricks and we run for the hills, right? So on an uninformative auction, don't worry about this. I have routinely gotten the question over the years. I see somebody opened a diamond. And I said, well, you had a balance 16. Why didn't you open a no trump? Now, again, I know we have some A-call folks who may play a weak no trump, but still, when you open a no trump, same thing. We can't worry about having an honor in every single suit. Otherwise, you're never going to be able to bid your hand, right? You still have to be practical. Other times, we might have an auction where we end up leaking more information. We tell the defense perhaps a little more than we really want to. We bid 3 different suits and we haven't found a fit anywhere. So on an auction like that, we do want to be sure that we have the unbid suit stop before we settle into 3-no trump. So hopefully folks can see the difference, right? If we go 1-no, 3-no, or we go 1 diamond, 1 spade, 1-no, 3-no. Auctions where we're not revealing quite as much. Don't worry about having the perfect hand. Don't worry about having an honor in every suit. If we have the points we need, if our side has 25, 26 points combined to where we know we belong in a game, bid the game that it looks like we should make, like we should be in. And, if it doesn't make, if there's an area of weakness and the defense is able to exploit it, then so be it. Now, certainly when we hear from the opponents during our auction, we need to be more concerned about these things. If they overcall, presumably a 5-card or longer suit, because they have length, we don't want them to run our suit on us. We need to have a stopper. We need some kind of high honor. If they preempt, they open a weak 2, they open a 3-level preempt. Even more important that we have the suit stop because now it's a 6 or a 7-card suit, right? And in an ideal world, not only do we have the suit stopped, but hopefully we can also get the contract playing from the right side. And sometimes we use that as a verb, right-siding the contract. What do we mean? Well, if your stopper is the ace, it may not matter which side plays it. But if your stopper is a king or queen, some kind of broken honor holding, king jack, king 10, some of these broken honor holdings, we want that opening lead from the hand that has the long suit coming into our hand, or for them to avoid that lead because they know we have the stopper and they don't want to give away a trick, right? That would be that would be the ideal scenario. One of the tools that we can use to check for stoppers and hopefully get the contract declared from the right side, we can put to use our Q bids. We actually haven't talked a whole lot about Q bids in this series. I know we've maybe touched on them just here and there. I could pretty easily, I'm sure, do a couple of 3 months of classes all on Q bids and the many kinds of Q bids. I have done a 4-week Q bids course before. And when it comes to dealing with stoppers in the opponent's suit, we might make a bid that is more of an asking bid. Partner, do you have a stopper? Or we might make a bid that is a showing bid. Asking is really going to be the most common. And so we will get into some of the details of that. Before we get into the Q bids, though, I thought we would take a look here at a couple of auctions where our opponents aren't bidding. And seeing what type of auction we might conduct to inevitably, or well, we hope, inevitably eventually reach 3-0 from the hand that we want to declare it. I typically play 2/1, so I'm going to use a 2/1 game forcing approach here on this hand. Although I don't know that even if you play standard American, I don't know that your auction would look any different necessarily. So here, South's 2 clubs, simply natural. And again, if you play 2/1, it does set up a game force right away. Okay, North, you're going to show your other major, right? Bid out your pattern. So 5 spades and at least 4 hearts. It could be 5-5 for this auction. So South, what do you do next? And you have a couple of reasonable choices at this point. I suppose you could give up on a fit and you could bid no trump now. You do have a stopper in diamonds, and that's the unbid suit, right? And that's the suit that we'd be most concerned about because we are, at least to this point in the auction, kind of advertising to the opponents that maybe they should lead a diamond, right? So I would totally understand it if you were to bid no trump at this point. You might want to show, since your clubs are pretty good and you have 6 of them, let's say you decide to show the extra club length. And the main benefit to showing your extra club length would be if perhaps your side had a club slam. And we can see from the North card, North actually has a very good club holding here, Queen Doubleton, right? Now, the opening hand, it turns out, is not quite strong enough to be looking for a slam. But remember, especially in a 2/1 context, that at this stage of the auction, both of us are unlimited. Both North and South are unlimited in their values. Neither has limited with this bidding to a minimum hand for their bid yet, right? So when this comes back to North, I would ask everybody, what do you do? Folks on replay, for you as well, you're North. This is the auction you've had to this point. I'd like to know, what do you bid at this point? Because it's maybe a little bit uncomfortable, is it not? All right. John's going to go back to spades. I understand that. I would say that if you bid 3 spades, you are not necessarily guaranteeing a 6th spade on this auction. Now I've got a suggestion for 3 diamonds, and I like this. To address the John's comment here, John, I would say a lot of experts would actually play that 2 hearts does not deny 6 spades. Most experts, when they are 6-4 here, will bid 2 hearts. I'm actually, in a number of my partnerships, essentially obligated to bid that way. And then we have to wait until later to show the 6th spade. But that is a matter of style. So don't take that to be universal. So what if we were to bid 3 diamonds? And that looks like a very funny bid here, doesn't it? What is 3 diamonds? This, by the way, is my preferred bid on this auction. Diamonds probably isn't natural, right? I mean, if I had a real diamond suit, that might have been my rebid rather than 2 hearts. Now, I suppose we could construct a hand for North that had, 5 spades, 4 hearts, 4 diamonds, and a club void, something like that. And then if I'm 4-4 in the red suits, yeah, I would tend to choose the major for my rebid, not the minors. So I suppose this could be a pattern bid, but most likely North does not have real diamonds. Would North not, at this point, with a diamond stopper and nothing else to finish showing with the distribution of the hand, if there is no 6th spade, if there is no 5th heart, would the priority not be for North to bid 3 no at this point? And then we ask the question, why did North not bid 3 no? The answer is North doesn't want to bid 3 no. North is worried about diamonds. So not only do I think this 3 diamond bid is not really natural, I think that North has no better than a partial stopper in the suit. Right? With the ace and king or diamonds, what would you, or even queen third? If it makes you feel better, queen jack third or queen 10 third. With any of those holdings, wouldn't we just bid 3 no? South has shown extra club length, right? And you do have a good doubleton in clubs. So I don't know if any of you were thinking about raising to 4 clubs. I think raising to 4 clubs would be a good decision if you were interested in a club slam after partner showed you a 6-card suit. But what's the biggest problem? Yes, worry that it would confuse my partner. That's an important statement. And when I'm not playing in a regular partnership, I got to say, John, I'm really glad to see you say that, because to me, one of the things that makes a good partner is somebody who is looking out for their partner. And look, while we could sit here and make a case for 3 diamond perhaps being the perfect bid here, a bid is never perfect if your partner doesn't understand it at all, right? So I think that's really important. And I'm big on bidding in a manner that maintains partnership harmony and doesn't put partner under the gun as much as possible. So yeah, we will have wanted to discuss this, right? But we also want to get people thinking as intuitively and drawing on all of these inferences as best they can. And we'd like to think that you would bid 3 no if you could, right? And then, of course, the problem that I was about to mention, you may be tempted to raise clubs because you know that there's an 8-card 5th there. But the problem with raising clubs is that now you're at 4 clubs and now 3 no is lost forever, is it not? Sign off. I mean, if you're playing 2/1, in theory, you're in a game force. If you're not playing 2/1, yeah, you may be permitted to stop in 4 of a minor. Actually, some 2/1 players will add an exception, and even in the presumed game forcing auctions, they'll make exceptions. Of course, we have to be careful with exceptions, right? Is this the time we're allowed to stop in 4 clubs, or do we need to be in game? So what this does, if you follow this type of approach, is it's going to allow South to now bid 3-0. 3-0. Now, look, what happens if North just guesses? If North says, well, my partner did force the game. He's a good partner. I think he'll probably have an honor in diamonds. If you bid 3-0, it would be a guess and you would be okay. Now, it would be a little scary because 3-0 is now playing from the wrong side, right? If the South hand comes down as the dummy, East is leading a diamond, not a hardly defined on this auction, holding Jack 10, and you lead that Jack of diamonds, and the King of diamonds is trapped. Now, luckily, diamonds are 4-4, right? So if North were to declare 3-0, 9 tricks can be taken, but you might be sweating. Because if East was leading from Jack 10 third and West had Ace Queen fifth, now we have a problem, right? But what happens if South declares the hand? Well, either West makes a length lead in diamonds, South scores the king and runs off all their black suit winners in the ace of hearts, and now you're making 3-0 actually with overtrick. Or maybe West says, all right, I know from the bidding that South has the king. Let's see if I can get my partner in to put a diamond through, and maybe chooses a different lead, which is effective in the sense is that it doesn't give South the diamond winner. And that could be a very good way to defend the hand if they don't have their tricks off the top. But either way, 3-0 is going to make. So we see the benefit. Now, we could have followed another approach, right? Like John suggested 3 spades. That might work out okay here, right? Now, if your partner took you for 6 spades, you might get raised to 4 spades with King Doubleton, right? But if South then bid 3-0, you'd be okay. What would I lead with the West hand? I think I would still make the diamond lead. I know that I'm giving them their diamond trick, but my concern is that they're having a 2/1 and I have 9 high card points. I know that my partner has a fairly weak hand that probably only has queens and jacks in it, probably only totaling 4 or 5 points, something like that. So I would be thinking, partner's not likely to have an entry on this hand to put the diamond through. I might as well set my suit up and hope that I can get in. I think I would probably go ahead with the 4th best diamond here. I suppose my second choice would be a heart, but the heart suit's pretty lousy. At least with the heart, I'm leading through strength. So yeah, that's what we've done here. And again, I think what you want in, at least in the back of your mind, is be loath to go past 3-0 without exhausting all of your options, right? Do what you can with your bidding space, as long as it isn't, too confusing, too misleading, or, a real distortion of your hand. But try not to go past 3-0 unless we reach the point or our hand is so distributional that we are absolutely willing to go past 3-0. Let's look at another one. Okay. I'm curious what everybody will do with this hand. Going to have East open a diamond. West, of course, going to respond with your 4-card major. The East hand is certainly too good to rebid only 2 diamonds, so I'm going to jump rebid the diamonds. I'm almost worried with this just about solid diamond suit. I'm almost worried that my jump to 3 diamonds isn't good enough for this hand. Technically, it's in the range. It's got 16 points, which is about what we expect for the jump rebid. But quite likely there are 7 easy tricks out of this hand alone, right? We can probably count on 6 diamond winners in the ace of clubs, and we don't need a lot of help from partner to make a game. So the jump rebid does show our extra values. Of course, this is not forcing, right? So I would ask everybody sitting west, what do you do after your partner jump rebids 3 diamonds? If you're watching on replay, thinking about your call here, any great ideas? We have 1 vote for 3 no. One thing that West can tell is that there's no 8-card major fit, right? That much we know. East can't have 4 hearts because East should be jumping in hearts, not in diamonds with support, right? Hopefully you wouldn't be worried about showing your diamonds if you knew you had a heart fit. You'd be supporting partner. We also don't think that East can have 4 spades because rather than jump rebidding diamonds, you could rebid a spade. And West doesn't have 4 of those anyhow, right? Now, you could try 3 no. Certainly you have the points to be there, right? West has 11 points. East for the jump rebid should have a good 15, 16. Clearly we have the values to be in game, right? And so we want to make sure we get to game. Now, Jane is suggesting 3 spades. And I kind of like this call here. And you might say, well, I don't have 4 spades. That's true. But remember, we also said that East doesn't have spades. So if you do something like bid 3 spades, which is, we'll call it natural-ish, right? I mean, half of your points are in spades. You've got the king, queen, and that 10 is a valuable card when it's with your king, queen. There shouldn't be any danger of partner raising you to 4 spades, right? Because partner doesn't have 4 of them. Now, you have diamond support, right? I mean, you have a huge diamond fit. You could raise diamonds. That might work out just fine, right? 10-card fit. Maybe 5 diamonds is where you belong. But do you want to commit to a diamond game before you have exhausted the possibility of playing 3 no? So the trick is we have to make a bid that is above 3 diamonds, but below 3 no trump, right? Not a lot to operate with there. We certainly can't rebid our hearts. That would be very misleading, right? That would show, normally it would show a 6-card heart suit. I suppose if you had a very good 5-card suit and you felt like you were stuck, you could rebid 3 hearts, but normally that would be 6. You could bid 3 no and guess if partner has a club stopper, or you could bid 3 spades and see if you can get 3 no from the other side, which I think is what East would do here, right? If you had a spade stopper and a club stopper in the West hand, then I hope you would just bid 3 no yourself, right? Take the pressure off of partner. Say, okay, We bid the red suits. We don't have a heart fit. We may or may not have a diamond fit, but if 3-0 is an option, then we want to do it, right? This hand is pretty interesting from the standpoint that the right siding makes the difference in whether the game can be made or not. So this is the balance you're striking here. And for the question that has come through here about the information leakage. We're walking a fine line here, right? We would rather not give the opponents too much information. But the priority is for us to get to the best contract. And if we must give away some information in the process to get to the best contract, then we live with the information leakage, right? If West just bids 3-0 and hopes that East has a club stopper, is it possible that we get a spade lead instead of a club lead and we escape this? Sure. Maybe that means the defenders are flipping a coin, right? Look at the north hand. If that hand is on lead, well, do you lead from Jack fourth of spades or Jack fourth of clubs? That's a guess to some degree. They may guess wrong. So it could work out very well for you if they lead a spade. But if they find the club lead, have you noticed that 3-0 goes set? Because the club lead is coming through the ace queen. And now I guess that technically it works best for North to lead the Jack or the 9 to trap that queen and stay on lead. Double dummy, maybe that's not a lead we're going to get. Maybe we're going to get a small club lead. But the contract can be beaten if declared by West. It cannot be beaten if played by East. In fact, it can always make an over trick if declared by East. Because with South on lead, if they lead a club away from the king, that gets East the second stopper, right, with the club lead coming in. And if South avoids the lead of a club so as not to give a trick away, then East preserves the timing to get one of the major suit aces knocked out. Or maybe both. If you decide to knock out the ace of hearts first, I think that's what works out best. So interesting proposition here, right? So yeah, that's kind of what you're doing, right? In these auctions where the opponents aren't bidding, aren't showing any long suits, you want to get to the best spot. You'd rather not give away too much information, but the priority is to get to the best contract, right? If we look for 3-0 and we find out that nobody has a club stopper, maybe we find ourselves in 5 diamonds and we play 5 diamonds that makes when more careless pairs in the field maybe play 3-0 and go down, right? So that's the important part. The important part is that we are in a good contract. And if we have to give away a little bit of the show in the process, okay. All right. Let's get into some bidding by the opponents now, because I'd like to know what you do in this sort of situation. So you're South, you have this opening hand, and if your partner opened a club, you would say right off the bat, oh, okay, we belong in a game. Partner has an opening hand, I have an opening hand, and you don't have much in the majors, so you'd probably be thinking about 3-0, right? Now, you might be a little concerned about those 2 little hearts. You might bid no trump right away, and play partner for something in the heart suit and not give away information. You might respond to diamond or something like that, see where it goes. I suppose you could give a club raise. I'd rather have 5 clubs than 4, but different ways this auction can go if the opponents are passing throughout. But on the auction we see here, where East has made a weak jump overcall, which is typically a 6-card heart suit, what do? Well, how about that Q bid of 3 hearts that everyone is proposing here, right? And the 3 heart bid kind of works both ways here. Normally we think of Q bidding an overcaller's suit as a raise of opener's suit. But that's kind of what you're doing here, right? I mean, you do have some club support. It's a balanced hand. I mean, it's not a hand that is thinking first and foremost about playing in clubs. It's not like you have 6 clubs in a singleton somewhere. That would be a hand that you would think of as a very much a dummy for clubs. Here you're more balanced, and you should be thinking about 3-0 because there can't really be a major fit, right? But how do you deal with it? You need to make a forcing bid here. And a forcing bid would be a new suit at the 3 level, like if you were able to bid 2 spades or 2 diamonds, but you don't have a long suit. You don't want to bid 3 only clubs. That's a non-forcing bid. Partner will probably pass that. And so 3 hearts, we're effectively showing a limit raise or better with clubs by doing that. You are, I think, implying some club support. But since it's a minor that partner opened and not a major, what is the first priority for North to do when you bid 3 hearts? The first priority is bid 3-0 if he can bid 3-0. If North has a heart stopper, you want no trump declared from the North. If North doesn't have a heart stopper, then they are running their suit on us, and we don't want to be in no trump at all, right? Now, look, if North doesn't have a stopper, does the Q bid put your partner under some pressure? Sure. Partner may not always have an easy bid. All they know is that they're staring at a forcing 3 heart Q bid, and they need to do something with it. They also probably know that you don't have 4 spades because you likely would make a negative double, right? So you are implying on this type of auction that you're okay with partner going back to clubs if necessary. And that would be the difficult situation here, right? If partner doesn't have a heart stopper and has to retreat to 4 clubs. Now, if that's partner's hand, they probably have a real club suit, right? They probably have 5 or more clubs. Otherwise, there is likely something else that they can do. And then if North bids 4 clubs, I guess you need to decide, do you want to let them play it there or do you want to take a shot at the game? Because it's going to be real close, right? We're almost certainly losing 2 hearts off the bat, right? Good question from Jane. Can opener bid anything else? Yeah, I mean, you would have room on that auction to bid 3 spades if you wanted. So would you bid 3 spades on a 4-card suit? Maybe suggest to partner the possibility of playing in a 4-3 fit if it exists. You could do that. And of course, the opener could have a really good hand. Remember, the opponents are preempting. Could North not have a 16 or 17 point hand with ace, king, 6th of clubs? All right, well, now maybe we're in business for a club slam or something, right? So yeah, I mean, an opener is could proceed in a number of different ways, but we're looking at what do we expect to be the most common situation? The most common situation is that we want to find the best game, and we're probably not headed to a slam that often, right? So now, are we done looking for stoppers? Yeah, I mean, we're really only concerned about hearts, right? And again, this is the type of thing that I tell people all the time. If you're sitting north and you have, let's say you have a heart stopper, but what if you have a small doubleton in spades? And you say, well, I've got E-suit stop, but my partner didn't make a negative double, and I have bad spades, and I'm really worried about no trump because of the spades more than the hearts. Well, you can't be that much of a worrywart, right? You've got to worry about the suit that the opponents have shown length in, and if they didn't show length in spades, I wouldn't worry about spades. Presume that partner will have a little bit of help for you in that suit because your partner does have a game forcing hand that apparently doesn't include points and hearts, right? So don't worry about those suits that the opponents aren't bidding. Look, if you play 3-no and they come with a sneak attack against you in the spade suit and it ends up being effective because the dummy doesn't show up with good spades and they didn't lead their long suit as we anticipated they would, on rare occasion that might happen. And I think you got to hand it to the opponents and say, hey, you didn't lead your suit. You found our weakness. Good job, right? So again, the big concern is really the long suits that they're bidding. So, what are you conveying? And this is really, I think, kind of reviewing what we've just been talking about. If you make that Q bid at the 3 level, your hand's good enough to force, right? If you're bidding the opponent's suit at the 3 level, you probably have opening values. You need a strong enough hand to do that. Because you're forcing partner to bid, and you're effectively forcing partner to bid a game, right? You are probably denying a stopper in the opponent's suit, because if you had the stopper, I would hope that you would bid 3-no trump yourself, right? Now, there is an exception to that. And that is, what if you have a stopper in the opponent's suit? And what if you also have slam interest? You might start with a Q bid, and it looks like you are trying to get partner to bid 3-no. And then if partner does bid 3-no, you remove 3-no and you support partner's minor. That is a slam try. That is not running from no trump. That is absolutely a slam try. So when you make that high level Q bid, you're essentially showing one of two hands. You're either showing a hand that wants partner to bid 3-no, if 3-no is an option, or you have a good fit for opener suit and you have a slam try. Those are both possibilities. Usually, again, since we don't have that many slam hands in a given session, usually we're looking for the best game. And so that's why bidding 3-no with the stopper becomes the priority. And then all of us, like I said, either way, you may have clear support for opener suit, or at least you have some tolerance for it, right? You are okay with partner's minor suit if partner has no choice but to bid it again, right? You understand that is a real possibility. If we can't play 3-no, that we might hear something like 4 clubs or 4 diamonds from partner, and we need to make sure that we're all right with that. So what we're all talking about here, and John uttered the term a little while ago, this is essentially the Western Q bid. You hear people talk about Western Q. This is the Western Q. Usually what we're referring to with a Western Q bid is bidding the opponent's suit. And it really is pretty much always at the 3 level because it's our last shot at 3-no, right? And we use it to make sure that we don't bypass 3-no without at least trying, right? At least see if partner has a stopper. So if you use a Western Q bid, if you bid the opponent's suit at the 3 level, and again, this is for auctions where we have not we're not really bidding the majors, right? Because if partner opens a major and we Q bid the opponent's suit at the 3 level, that is in support of the major, right? That's a little different. So normally we're thinking about more of our minor suit oriented auctions. And so if you bid it, you don't have a full stopper. You might have a partial stopper, right? And when we talk about a partial stopper, we talk about holdings like Queen Doubleton or Jack Third. If you have those holdings in the 2 hands, you have a stopper, but you may not know you have the stopper, right? Queen Doubleton opposite Jack Third is a guaranteed stopper if the opponents lead the suit, because it's a frozen suit for them. And then again, when Western Q applies, when the opponents have shown length in 1 and we specify 1 suit. Because before we get out today, we need to talk about what we're going to do when the opponents are bidding different suits. We got to deal with that as well. So why don't we come back to the table here and take a look at one of these. All right, South is going to open a club. Good club suit. Minimum opening values. West, I think you have a choice here. East-West are at unfavorable vulnerability. Could overcall 1 spade. If you want to put more pressure on, I'm going to use a jump overcall of 2 spades here. Now, be sure if you do this at unfavorable vulnerability that you have a good suit. This is closer to what a vulnerable 2 spades looks like. I would not do this at these colors with queen empty 6th. If you want to do that non-vol, different story. But the suit should be pretty good if you are going to do this vulnerable, especially at unfavorable. Okay, so I would hope that North would start with a negative double. You might have a heart fit, right? You've got 4 good hearts. South might have 4 hearts. So we'll check that first, right? See if we can play a heart contract. All right, South, you can't support hearts, right? You do have rebiddable clubs. I imagine that's what you're doing, as you have to deal with partners double, right? Minimum hand with 6 good clubs. Looks like you're bidding more clubs. Well, North, you want to be in game, right? You've got the values to be in game. Partner open. You can't bid 3-no. At least you shouldn't. I mean, you can. The bid is available and legal. I guess I shouldn't tell you that you can't, but I could tell you that you shouldn't. That would be pretty reckless. We think West has a good spade suit for the vulnerable jump over call, right? So I think we probably know what everybody wants to do now, right? Is it time for a Q bid? So this would very much be a typical usage of the Western Q. You have club support, right? You have queen third. You could play in clubs. You're okay with that. But do you want to commit to clubs? Do you really want to be raising clubs without at least checking to see if South can bid no trump. And South can bid no trump here, right? King Jack third looks like a good stopper. And again, if you look at this layout carefully, you can see that if North were to be reckless about all of this and bid 3-0 and hope for the best, well, what would happen? Well, 3-0 could be beaten. In fact, it could be beaten multiple tricks because the South hand would come down as the dummy. And that King Jack third of spades would be exposed, and East could lead partner suit through the King Jack. West puts in whatever minimal honor is necessary to win the trick or cover a king or jack that is played. And then all West has to figure out to do is put back a diamond, get back into the East hand with the ace of diamonds. And now here comes a second spade through. And this gets ugly, doesn't it? Because now the suit runs and East West collects 6 spade tricks plus their ace of diamonds. So we have 3-0 failing if declared by North on proper defense. But what if West is on opening lead because South is declaring? Well, if West doesn't lead the spades, then South's timing is there and the stopper is intact. And even when East gets in with the ace of diamonds, all South has to do is cover whatever spade East plays to make sure West is back on lead, right? And then that other spade honor is still safe from attack. So we're talking about the difference between taking 9 tricks and making 3-0 if declared by South, and the game failing if declared by North. And clubs isn't going to work on this hand because you do not have 11 tricks. You can lose a couple of spades in the ace of diamonds. And so Western Q ends up being a very good tool on this auction to help you get your 3-0 trump from the right side. Okay. Let's talk about one more thing here. And that is, what if the opponents are bidding more than one suit? We see it sometimes. One of those 70-point decks. Everybody seems to have a bid. Now, sometimes we know that the opponents are kind of fooling around. Maybe they're making some light overcalls. And we don't want them to talk us out of our best game, which may still be 3-0 trump. We might be able to use Q bids here. But if more than one suit has been introduced into the auction by the opponents, we change our approach. And we show stoppers rather than ask. By the way, the name, in case anybody wondered, that the name Western Q bid, we talked about, essentially one of the definitions of a Western Q is that it is an asking style of bid. There is a such thing as an Eastern Q bid. I haven't heard anything about the Eastern Q bid forever, and I'm guessing that it has become mostly obsolete. If you look at some literature, like one book I can think of offhand, if anybody's familiar with Root and Pavlicek, modern bidding conventions from the 1980s. I mean, when the book came out, it was an excellent book and it was reflective of what people were playing. But the title modern conventions would no longer apply now because a lot of the content in that book has gotten a bit dated. I know they talk about the Eastern Q bid, where you Q bid to show a stopper. But that, I think what happened is that expert thinking evolved. And they said, well, wait a minute. If we have the stopper, why are we not bidding 3-0 ourselves, right? Why bid the suit to show the stopper and then have partner bid 3-0 potentially and get the contract from the wrong side? Should we not be using the Q bid as an asking bid? And that makes a lot of sense when there is only one suit of concern. What if the opponents are bidding 2 suits? You have one of them stop, but not the other. In that case, it makes more sense to show your stopper. And by doing so, partner will know that you are missing a stopper in the other opponent's suit, right? If you've got both covered and you want to bid 3-0, just bid 3-0. If you think the opponents are fooling around, making light overcalls, preamps, whatever, if you've got both of their suits stopped and you think you have 9 tricks, then bid 3-0 yourself. But even if one of the suits isn't a problem, the other one could be, and we do need to cater to that. So why don't we hop back over to the table for just a minute here before we wind things down today and look at that situation. And actually, I would say, especially with East-West being at favorable vulnerability, everybody has their bids here. So East is going to overcall a heart, right? Now, South, your priority is to look for a spade fit, right? And you may say to yourself, okay, I've got Ace-10, 4th of hearts. I've got a stopper there. And South is probably developing a plan saying, okay, I'm going to look for a spade fit. If we don't have a spade fit, at least I can bid no trump if I need to, right? And that's all well and good until West gets involved. Good diamond suit, not much of anything else, right? I mean, it would be a very normal week 2 diamond opener. It would even be a good vulnerable week 2 diamond opener. It certainly is sufficient for non-vulnerable activity. And, this could be an effective little nuisance bid here. See what I mean? Everybody's bidding. Everybody's got points. 70 high cards in the deck. All right. Let's say that North rebids the clubs. I would play that this just shows a good 6-card club suit and doesn't necessarily suggest extra values. I understand pass since it's a minimum opener, and that may be your choice, but it's it's a good 13. Your suit is good. While you can't support spades directly at this point, I think your Queen Doubleton is a good holding and partner suit. And so now South has to rethink the original plan. Partner didn't raise my spades, and I only have 5 of them. I don't have 6. Looks like we don't have an 8-card spade fit. I was going to bid no trump because I have a heart stopper, but now I'm worried about the diamonds, right? So what do we do here? Because they have bid 2 different suits, the key to remember here is that bidding one of their suits isn't going to be an asking bid any longer. It's going to be showing a stopper. So when South bids 3 hearts, what this says to North is, hey, I have a stopper there. I need you to have the diamond stopper if we're going to play 3-0. Otherwise, we need to figure something else out. And that something else might mean playing in clubs, or it might mean playing in a 5-2 spade fit. North is going to do whatever seems to make the most sense. We cope as best we can, right? We try to be as practical as we can. We're getting interference from both opponents here. This is not trivial to deal with. But North, with the ace of diamonds, says, oh, okay, I would have been worried about hearts, but you tell me you have hearts stopped. Since I have the diamond stopper, I can bid 3-0. And this is the game you want to be in. In fact, if you can believe it, you have 13 tricks on this hand. I'm not suggesting that you bid a slam on these cards. But with the king third of spades on side, both of your black suits are coming in. So you have 11 winners in the black suits and both red suit aces. That's just kind of a lucky hand from that perspective. But how many of you would let these pesky opponents talk you out of your best game? I mean, yeah, you can make multiple games. You can make 5 clubs, the same 13 tricks. You can take the same 13 tricks in no trump, in clubs, or in spades. Would any of you chicken out and not bid your game because the opponents were all over your auction? By the way, I would suggest, especially at this vulnerability, be willing to do this sorts of thing as an opponent, right? We want you to be able to deal with the pesky opponents. We also want you to be those pesky opponents when the vulnerability allows you to do that, right? A lot of the fun auctions in this game come from these types of situations. So, a question about the lead. Would I duck? No, I don't think I would. I don't think I would duck. I mean, you could duck one diamond. You could duck one heart. I don't know. At match points, I think I might be inclined to play the hand wide open. Now, I may have to decide whether or not I want to take my spade finesse. But I think East probably has the king of spades, right? When I see that East, when I see the ace of hearts and dummy, and I see that East overcalled, okay, probably king, queen, jack of hearts. Well, there ought to be another card. Is it a diamond or a spade? It's more likely the king of spades, since West is the one bidding diamonds. So I think I'd probably go for the gusto, win the opening lead, run off all my club winners, and decide whether I have the stones to take the spade finesse. And I probably would do it, especially at match points. Go for the max. All right. Well, as we mentioned, next week we are going to begin the series on monster hands. My plan for the rest of the calendar year is the monster hand series will take us up close to Thanksgiving, and then we'll kind of hit the home stretch of the calendar year. I'm thinking at that point we'll get back to some defense, get you a little holiday defense. So yeah, so next Tuesday, come join us for Monster Hands before you go trick-or-treating or to your costume party or whatever your plans are. And I want to thank everybody, not just for joining today or watching on replay, but really for especially for those of you who have been here through the summer and since we started this series back in the spring. And of course, to my excellent support, Mary Ellen.
Thanks, Kurt. Thank you, everybody. Great session. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.